By far the biggest fraud in India's banking history, celebrity diamond baron Nirav Modi has been accused of defrauding at least 6 public sector banks of over rupees 11,000 crores. Just imagine the number of zeros behind that 11. Here are the hard facts. Upfront, fraudulent letter was issued to Nirav Modi in 2011, right under the UPA regime. The loans on the fake LOU were given even in 2015 and 2016. This was well after Nirav Modi was already under investigation of the DRI, the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence, in 2014. For 7 years, the loan scam, as it's being called, remained undetected by banks. Red flag by private citizen apparently ignored. In 2016, a letter that this particular private citizen had written to the PMO was acknowledged but not acted upon, according to this whistleblower. A delay of 2 weeks in the ED raids and seizures after complaint was first filed on, and this is a complaint, on the 29th of January 2018, and then a case was registered exactly 2 days later, on the 31st of January of the last month. Not first accusation of violation of law against Nirav Modi. In 2014, Nirav was accused of violating import-export norms, and that is the reason why the DRI was investigating him. The trouble is that days before, just days before, the Punjab National Bank got the Central Bureau of Investigation to file a case against Nirav Modi. He fled India. Yeah, he disappeared into thin air. The ease with which Modi, i.e. Nirav Modi, and some of his family members, including his wife, his brother, and other relatives, have managed to escape abroad before imminent action has sparked a massive blame game. The BJP and the Congress are trading accusations as to who really let off Nirav Modi, who allowed him to amass wealth over 7 years and cheat the Indian taxpayer of 11,000 crores. Look at the number of zeros in that number up there on your screens. 11,000 crores vanish into thin air, and all we get is bickering by the political parties. Listen to this, sample this.
How such a fraud was taking place unless there was a nexus between top executives of RBI and government. Mr. Modi government should answer. Mr. Modi claims that he will not eat, he will not allow others to eat. But what is happening under his nose?
2011 में श्री नरेंद्र मोदी की सरकार नहीं थी. अगर कांग्रेस यह कह रही है तो 2011 से लेकर के 2014 तक क्या वो सोते रहे? देखना तो उन्हें चाहिए था ना.
Chota Modi number 2. Nirav Modi also runs away under Modi ji's watch. What is happening to the risk management systems, to the auditors, to the fraud detection mechanisms, to the overseers of the bank? The truth is that to blame it on 2 minions, BJP cannot escape responsibility.
जिनके कार्यकाल में हुआ उनका आरोप अभी आ रहा है. ये 14 से हुआ नहीं है, उससे पहले से हुआ है. उसको चुपचाप दरकिनारे करते हुए या तो मुंह उस तरफ मोड़ करके यूपीए सरकार ने उनके अपने सरकार चलाई.
Why is there so much of secrecy over such things? If this was known before and FIR was being filed, how did he accompany the Prime Minister to the Davos International Economic Summit, World Economic Summit? Now these are questions that require answers. The PMO has to answer these questions.
कौन सी बात कांग्रेस पार्टी कह रही है? मैं समझता हूं जब कांग्रेस पार्टी इस तरह के आरोप लगाती है तो अपने दिनों की याद करती है. माननीय मोदी जी की सरकार में अभी तक 3.5 साल में एक भी बैंक ने ऐसा लोन नहीं दिया है जो एनपीए हुआ.
Well, the blame game, as you heard it, throws up some big questions tonight, and let's throw this debate open. Joining me on India Upfront, Dr. Sambit Patra of the Bharatiya Janata Party and KTS Tulsi, MP of the Rajya Sabha, someone who will speak up on behalf of the UPA today. Dr. Patra, very simple question, and I'm asking you this because it's a question that is perhaps on the tip of the tongue of every Indian today, every God-fearing and tax-paying Indian. If Nirav Modi was under the scrutiny of our agencies, especially the DRI, since 2014, 2015, why weren't steps taken to prevent him from fleeing? It's a simple question. He's gone. He's like Malia. vanished into thin air. Lalit Modi, all sitting God alone knows where. In this particular case, Switzerland. Some people speculate.
See, Rahul, we have to know few things in this. Number one, as Mr. Shivshankar Prasad held a press conference today and categorically pointed out that the first FIR to this effect was launched only on 29th of January to the CBI as well as the Enforcement Directorate. Thereafter, I would say the clutches of law started catching up with Nirav Modi and his companies and his associates. The second thing that we should be aware of the fact, because since in this particular case we have 3 companies and we have as partners of Mr. Nirav Modi, his wife and his relative Mr. Choksi. Many of the people over here involved are foreign nationals also. For instance, his wife is probably an American citizen. So these questions, I mean, are though very important, but have to be answered in perspective to what I have said right now.
Okay. Have to be answered in perspective to what he said right now. And I am therefore going to bring in Mr. Sanjay Hegde and KTS Tulsi. We can't run away from the fact, Sanjay Hegde, that this scam, once again, was sown under the watchful gaze, some would say, of the UPA. And it's an inheritance. And this government today has cracked down, has been able to recover 5,100 crores in diamonds, gold, bullion, etc. from various outlets, shops, establishments of Nirav Modi around the country.
Well, that still leaves about 10,000 odd crores of the, roughly the figures coming out today are about 15,000 crores, of which you seem to have the money seized and the assets seized amount to about 1/3 of it. The fact also remains that the transactions begin in 2011, but they have continued all this time. And when you allow a transaction like this to go undetected for 3 years of one government plus 3.5 years of another government, now I don't think we should get into a blame game of this government did it, that government did it.
No, I'm sorry, that blame game has already begun.
Were taken,
Sanjay Hegde, that blame game has begun. You can take a very exalted position, but today the Congress has made this a case, a test case of the Prime Minister's claim that he runs a corruption-free sarkar, a corruption-free government. You can't run away from that.
You can expect the Congress to say that. You can expect the BJP to defend. All that I am saying is let all the politicians keep blaming each other. The first question we have to ask is how do we get our money back? Because that money does not belong to the Congress. It does not belong to the BJP. It belongs to those of us who have our deposits in the Punjab National Bank and the other nationalized banks, which are also on the scanner. That's point one. The second point that you also have to see is that there are no more Nirav Modis and people like that in the system.
Okay, Sambit Patra wants to respond.
Please do a stress audit of all
Sambit Patra wants to respond. Let him respond. Dr. Patra.
In fact, though generally I disagree with Sanjay Hegde on ideological grounds, but today he has thrown some pertinent questions which need to be answered. Number one, he said that such should be the banking reform, that audit, etc., should be done to protect the ones who are investing in it. I'm absolutely in agreement that the banking system needs a reform, and to that effect, in fact, the managing director of the Punjab a press conference, he said that for the 2 reasons as to why this whole fraud came into limelight was, number one, that there has been instruction from the top to see to it that transparency is instilled into the banking system, and secondly, the cancer that continued. The exact words of his was, the cancer which was since 2011, the operation of the cancer takes place today. But thirdly and very importantly, since it's a technical issue, certain technical points need to be addressed. Now, why this whole thing was discovered now? If we have technical people over here, they would agree to me that that things like LC, that is letter of credit, or LOU, a letter of undertaking, or overdraft, OD, in fact, these are easy to start, but once they're difficult to start, but once they start, the whole fraud is detected generally when they mature or when the default is already taken place. In this case as well, since the LOU, which was in a fraudulent way or whatever way, was done in 2011, it matures today in January of this year, and that's the reason as to why the whole system
okay, so you have, so the NDA is taking credit tonight. The NDA says that because we are a no-nonsense regime, because we have monitoring, unexceptionable monitoring, we could detect this, it could no longer be suppressed. KTS to see, that's the problem. The problem is, under the UPA, something like this, there are chances would have gone undetected, suppressed. And it actually did for about 3.5 years.
The problem is that you have already taken a position. So what are we going to discuss? And the problem is that you will not even let me speak.
I have not taken the position. I'm echoing the Congress party. I'm echoing the opposition today. The opposition has come out and made it very clear that this is a test case for the integrity of Narendra Modi. They have put out pictures of him at Davos, standing in close proximity of Nirav Modi, and they have alleged that there was obvious indications of collusion and favoritism.
All right, all that I would like to say is that this scam erupted in May. It came to light in May 2017 when Gokulnath Shetty retired, and at that time, since that time, the discrete inquiries were going on by the bank and perhaps also preliminary inquiries by the investigating agency, that is the CBI. Now, why has it taken so much time from May 2017 till January or February? 1st January he fled. I mean, we need to have honest investigation.
Okay, honest investigation. The investigation hasn't been honest, says KTS. So just stay with me 1 second. Big breaking news coming in. We had reported a short while back that seizures had been made of confiscated properties and assets of Nirav Modi. Here's the visual evidence. The first pictures of seizures from Nirav's properties are here with us. Look at the haul of diamonds, bullion, gold. There they are. You can see them, precious necklaces. There you can see those diamonds that are in the in those little shelves that are housing them, the casings. You can see several other bits of jewelry there, which has been confiscated. And we are being told by the investigative agencies that this amounts to a sizable 5,100 crores. An amount like this has never really been taken into custody. Cash vans have already arrived at the sites so that these things can be transported safely. Nikunj Garg, our internal security editor, with more details. Very big. Look at these pictures. This is the haul that is going to bring Nirav Modi to account, Nikunj. That's what we are being told.
Well, yes, Rahul, and the bigger thing is that this is for the first time that such a liquid asset seizure has been made by a financial law enforcement agency of the Government of India, which means that this amount can directly be transferred to the government banks. And as our colleague Priyank some time back sent the pictures of those bank vans which are actually going to transport this, this money is not in illiquid or the fixed assets or the immovable properties which are usually seized. This can all be liquidated and cashed very, very quickly if the government so decides. Importantly enough, the raids are still ongoing in Jaipur particularly. The Enforcement Directorate is quite hopeful that the amount seized can escalate and the figures can rise. So they would be looking at somewhere close to 6,000 crore rupees at the stock value. This is not the market value. This is the stock value. These are the values at which the purchases are made by the buyer. And since these are bulk buyers, Nirav Modi and company are bulk buyers, they obviously get certain discounts from the firms that they buy from. So in terms of the market value, it can probably be more. Nonetheless, these are recoveries, and this is not the investigation itself. The investigation and the investigators have to find out a lot more, and the entire brass of the public sector banks involved in this mega banking fraud scandal is now under the scanner. whatever the Punjab National Bank class is saying at this point of time, the financial law enforcement agencies are certainly not taking it at its face value, and they clearly suspect that more individuals, not only in India, but in the branches abroad, the branches which are receiving these LOUs, which were actually infructuous and invalid in multiple cases out of the 150 nearly issued, because the last LOU was of 1 year, and the valuation of a LOU or the validity of an LOU never exceeds more than 6 months.
First
all
pictures.
Of those officials also are under scanner.
Absolutely. Nikun, stay on with me while we keep those pictures on our screens. I want to bring in Tanveer Ahmed Mir. Tanveer Ahmed Mir, this, and Tanveer Ahmed, I just want to ask you very, very clearly, this is evidence of intent, isn't it? Would you not agree? The government says we're going to get it back. We've already begun the process.
Firstly, let me just congratulate Modi ji's government for taking some strong action. But is it enough? As Mr. Dr. Sambit Patra, who's a doctor, said it is a cancer, they failed to detect the cancer. They did no operation, no chemotherapy, and now radiotherapy. Now when it is the fourth stage cancer,
in 2011, sir.
I know. For last 2 days...
No, scam took place in 2011, and I'm going to read out what PNB CEO Sunil Mehta said. The scam started in 2011, he said...
2014 to 2017.
Sir, the banks itself detected it on January 25th,
It is also the failure of the intelligentsia. It is...
The bank detected it 15, 20 days back, reported to the regulators, including the SEBI. Now listen to this, and the law enforcement agencies immediately...
Rahul ji...
booked a case against the culprits or the alleged culprits to take strong legal action.
I'm a student of finance. Okay. I'm a student of finance, and I really understand how things work, Rahul ji. I really understand how things work. You know, for last 2 days, the Punjab National Bank lost over 8,000 crores, which is 6 times of their annual profit. Who is going to really fulfill their losses? How is Modi ji's government going to fulfill the losses of the exchequer and the common man who has invested in Punjab National Bank? Today, the 5,000 crores of recovery doesn't solve the problem of people who have lost the huge amount of money. So, at the 4th stage of cancer, they have detected and they are trying to give the medicine. It is a failure of Modi ji's government.
One financial doctor, one health doctor responding. Yes, go ahead, sir.
See, first and foremost, prima facie, in all these debates pertaining to be it Vijay Mallya or be it to Nirav, we tend to see in a colloquial language, in a simple language, if I put it, the UPA appears to be the lend giver or the loan giver, and the NDA appears to be the one who is the man running behind, seeking to collect back the loan. That's what the whole issue is all about. We are the ones who have to collect the loan, and they kept on giving the loans without any guarantee. I have categorically mentioned, and all those who understand finance would agree with me, that as far as the LOU is concerned, it is extremely hard to detect until and unless it is matured. As soon as it did mature in January this year, we are the first ones.
Mr. Hegde.
Mr. Hegde, just let me complete in 10 more seconds. Just let me complete in 10 seconds, and then Mr. Hegde
I quite like Sambit Patra's description of the NDA running behind all these people after they've already left.
Okay. That's important. Sucheta Dalal.
They've already left and now you're running behind. What is this?
Sucheta Dalal, I want to ask you.
Let me tell you that, Mr. Hegde, it is not that we are running, we are recovering. We are the recovery agents. We are the recovery agents of the corrupt regime of UPA. We have recovered 5,100 crore rupees only today in a single day.
Recovery agents of the UPA. KTS Tulsi, straight charge. And I'm going to go across to Sucheta Dalal right after that. Yes, straight charge. The recovery agents of the UPA, don't blame us, don't shoot us. We are doing our job and we are doing it effectively. You can see the proof on the screen.
All that I want to say is that invariably in this government wakes up after the horses have bolted. Why do they wake up? 7 months from May 2017, when this was uncovered, it came to light and they took no steps. Even the first FIR was lodged on 31st January. What were they doing? Why did it take 10 months for them to even register an FIR? This matter came to light in May 2017 and the entire cover-up operations going on of what is happening. Why can't we just stick to facts instead of politicizing crime?
What's he ignoring? Hitesh Jain, what's he ignoring?
To get into the investigation stage.
These are facts.
If the ministers are going to start making statements on the investigation which has just begun,
and don't try to pretend
from
that
the
your UPA was innocent.
Okay, explain yourself.
Now, Mr. Tulsi, in 2013, your own Minister of Finance replied in a question to the on the floor of the House that there were 13,000 cases that were detected with lakhs in the banking fraud running in thousands. What were the steps taken from 2012 to 2014? Can you throw some light? Because this fraud was not detected in 2017. In 2013, 2014, the cases were reported.
Let's not digress. This is the case.
We were trying to sort out
we are
the mess.
talking about
the first
this
thing
case.
What the NDA government is doing is looking after the banking
mess?
fraud and the mess.
You're creating the mess. What investigation can be expected from a government where the ministers are anxious to give clean chit to themselves?
Loans which are not
what investigation can you expect? No, it has got to be investigated by somebody in whom you can repose faith.
Who's answerable?
There should be
who's
at least
responsible?
Credible
who's created the mess?
investigation.
Let's go across to Sucheta Dalal. We respect her a lot. She's someone who's got an independent point of view. Let's bring her in. Let's ask her. Sucheta Dalal, you know the banking system inside out.
But the government wakes up after the horse is bolted.
One second. Look, you know, let's get this in perspective. There is a blame game that can't be avoided. Let's not run away from it. We need to ask a basic question because the people want accountability today, Sucheta Dalal. Who created this mess? Let's be honest.
So Rahul, the way I see it is it doesn't matter which the government is because we have a banking regulator and we expect the banking regulator to be doing its job. The second thing is that frauds with jewelry companies is not new. This man was a nephew of Mehul Choksi of Gitanjali. Gitanjali has been under a cloud forever. You've had a massive scam called Vincent Diamonds, which is 6,800 crore. Did none of this raise alarm bells? The RBI has investigated these companies. You have Gitanjali figuring in the Panama Papers, in the HSBC case.
More so.
Now, what do you need?
Then what was the RBI doing?
I don't frankly expect the Prime Minister of the Congress or the BJP to look at it. I expect the RBI as the banking regulator to look at things.
That's but the RBI seemed to have been somnambulent from 2011.
We are all talking about it.
No, but someone needs to explain why was it?
Why 2011 even before that?
Ma'am, maybe there was pressure on the RBI. M.R. Venkatesh, who knows? I'm not trying to imply anything. I'm not trying to suggest anything. But you know how these things work. You've got a public sector bank.
No, it's not fair. You are. I don't think there was pressure.
There was no pressure. So the RBI was just sleeping, would you say? Was sleeping. Aren't we giving them too much of a berth?
There was another 6,000 crore scam in Bank of Baroda. And do you know how much banks have been penalized? It's 5 crore and 3 crore. So what is the banking regulator doing? Rahul, I think you will do a great disservice to this country if you don't ask the question, what was the banking regulator doing?
That's why I brought you into this, because that's the question that needs to be asked, and we are actually asking it. If you really look very closely at your screen, we are asking some big questions of the NDA, the UPA, as well as the banking system. Yes, go straight away to M.R. Venkatesh wants to come in on this.
Rahul, there is a Banking Regulation Act and then there is an RBI Act. Under both these acts, the RBI's auditors virtually swamp the bankers. Day in, day out, there are returns being filed in. Day in, day out, there are monitoring systems. This fraud could not have happened unless there was connivance and active connivance with people across the board. And RBI's incompetency in the least, and to the very minimum, it must be criminal negligence. I think the system, and as Sucheta ji rightly pointed out, this is not the first scam and this will not be the last scam. But I can tell you, these people in RBI just sleep and write some inane
No, but they seem to have been sleeping a lot under the UPA regimes. You've had the Malia, you've had the Malia bad loan scandal. You've had several other scandals with regards to the
Rahul,
banking system.
Rahul, this will be
The roots go back to the UPA. What's going on?
Rahul, just a minute. Now to trivial. No, let us not trivial. no, let us not trivialize this to a UPA scam or an NDA scam. The problem is that this is a banking scam, and our watchdogs, it is a watchdog scam. Actually, if you call me, this is a watchdog scam. The RBI is sucking its thumbs, and last week, I am told Punjab National Bank was recapitalized for 5,000 crores, and today the news is that 11,000 crores have been siphoned off. The 5,000 crores of your tax money and my tax money has gone to fund Punjab National Bank. And where has this gone? This has gone to fund this type of jokers and rascals who have taken our money. So the first thing is, you cannot put more money into the tank unless you rectify or remedy the leaking tap. And the leaking tap is the job, the remedying the leaking tap is the job of the RBI. But RBI, tell me, when has it acted proactively? At every scam since 1991, when I passed out my chartered accountancy, whether it was the Harshad Mehta scam or the Nirav Modi scam, all that I see is that the RBI only reports. After the scam has been reported to it. RBI, why should we have such people high pay? Why should we not close down the RBI's audit department? These are questions people are going to ask, and this will be the right questions instead of
let me ask you,
am I Venkatesh, scam or an UPS scam.
Is it trivializing to suggest that there might have been pressure on some authorities even in the RBI? How do we not know? We know that there have been investigations. We know that there is at some level collusion.
No, why will you speculate? Why will you speculate on that?
RBI is supposed to be a regulator.
So I'm saying, what if the regulator was purposely looking away because maybe there was pressure on the regulator?
For 25 years things are wrong. Why will you speculate?
Okay, 1 second.
No,
Let me bring
incompetent.
Let me bring it. Hitesh Jain.
First understand RBI is incompetent.
Incompetency.
First understand RBI is incompetent. For the last 25 years it is incompetent. Sheer incompetency
of criminal intent to defraud because there's pressure.
Criminal negligence compounded by sheer incompetency.
Governors of the RBI appointed sometimes politically. We know that they're always appointed political appointees. Let's not run away from that.
No.
One of the previous RBI governors was more concerned about human rights in this country.
Tell me this. Why should NDA pressurize RBI to keep quiet when it is an UPS scam?
Okay.
No, please tell me why should NDA pressurize RBI to keep quiet when it is an UPS scam?
Logical question.
I think it beats the logic.
Logical question.
It beats the logic. If it is an UPS scam, why should NDA keep quiet?
Logical question.
Why didn't NDA bring it out? The fact of the matter is that the RBI didn't blow the whistle.
Okay.
The watchdog did not bark.
And when the whistle was blown, the man took flight. Nirav Modi took flight, just like Vijay Mallya.
Rahul, I think we are focusing on. I think Rahul, we should also focus on relevant questions.
Such a great coincidence.
Rahul,
that Lalit Modi runs away just before he might get arrested. Vijay Mallya gets away before he's getting arrested, and Nirav Modi runs away. And it is just coincidence. And Narendra Modi's government is absolutely clean. It is all UPS scams. Fantastic. And I'm sure my friend, honorable friend,
can I just answer
Dr.
that?
Patra would definitely like to answer.
I know.
Yes, you can, sir, but you don't have an answer.
I know Hitesh Jain. I know Hitesh Jain.
Actions are not free,
just
sir.
a second. Tanveer bhai, let me answer that. Tanveer bhai, let me answer that. Number one, I know Hitesh Jain was asked a question and I know he wants to come in, but still, since the question has been directed towards my way, let me answer that. Number one, of course, there are a number of questions, the three components over here being the NDA, the UPA and the regulatory bodies as pointed out by the people who are non-political, pointing the fingers towards the RBI. But the problem of a politician is he cannot discuss about the RBI since that's an autonomous body, a body which is quite revered. And most importantly, since my friend Tanveer Ahmed speaks about too many coincidences, let me tell you the only coincidence, the only fact over here was that since the UPA days, all this was rampantly happening and no one was allowed, and everyone was allowed to go scot-free. No one in fact had to give any explanation. I have a bunch of letters in fact which was first exposed by Times Now Group. These letters, I have letters which were written to Vijay Mallya, and Vijay Mallya in fact had replied. Letters to Manmohan Singh, when Manmohan Singh ji, the then Prime Minister, said, well, I want to help you Vijay Mallya to tide over your emergencies. Letters written by Vijay Mallya to Mr. Chidambaram, and Mr. Chidambaram more than ready to help Mr. Vijay Mallya in giving him unsecured loans without any guarantee.
Let me ask on the back of that, is it a coincidence that most of India's public banks running on taxpayers' money
to help the defaulters
were looted under the UPA? It's a very simple question. Why should we quietly and cleverly deflect this entire onus away from the political class and the government of the day? Mr. Tanveer Ahmed.
Rahul, and also Tanvir
See,
Ahmed
I tell
is
you
not
one thing.
replying
I
to
am
own
not
ministers
supporting
in
Congress.
2013 when they are counting the fraud cases running in thousands. What is
Sir,
the answer when they are aware that there are thousands of fraud cases, there are thousands of crores running? What is the action that was taken from 2011 to 2013?
Mr. Tulsi, that's a question. That's a question. You've had coincidentally,
the fact is
I'm not imputing any motives. Coincidentally, a number of scams that
is a fraud. Rahul, that is a fraud. The fraud is the sanctioning of the loan.
Okay. Sucheta Dalal.
Fraud is sanctioning of the
which one of you would like to take that? Sucheta Dalal.
Right below
perhaps
the nose.
You would want to go first. Loans were sanctioned.
See, of course, no, the point is, of course, there was a fraud. Of course, there was a rogue banker who allowed this to happen, who probably colluded with Nirav Modi. But the point is that we are supposed to have systems. You know, there are bankers today who even question whether this letter of undertaking is a valid document. I don't think there is anything like a legally valid letter of undertaking based on which more banks have given out money. So it's all going to land in court. Second, I don't believe that these seizures of 5,000 crores are real. Because if you have regulatory agencies and investigation agencies going and seizing everything that's in a showroom, it's not illegal. That was not hidden in his cupboards. Okay? So a lot of people have valid claims, have lent money to him legally. I think all that will get deducted or it will land up in court. Please remember that in 1992 we set up a special court to try the security scam. That court is still functioning. It's an embarrassment to India that a court is functioning 25 years later, no case is over. So all this 5,000 crore that you're talking about is going to land up in court because there'll be claims. These LOUs are going to go to court. We do not have a system that works.
So you're saying this is all tokenism.
And the person responsible for the system, or rather the organization, is again the Reserve Bank of India.
Okay, so very, very important. Sucheta Dalal, these pictures that we are seeing, which are obviously giving hope to a large number of taxpayers today into believing that perhaps there is some redemption at the end of this long and dark tunnel. This is basically just tokenism because it's not going to amount to much. It'll all be tied up in litigation.
Well, I do not agree, Rahul, with that, because at that time there were no laws like prevention of money laundering.
And it's only
the serious
optics.
laws were not there. Now you have the laws.
Dr.
So this
Patra,
is not tokenism,
okay,
but you can actually use this for the taxpayers' money.
Optics, all these
but you
rates
can't
amount to
take
very
over
little.
a jewelry showroom and pretend it's all illegal.
Rahul, it is
Okay,
not
it's not
optics. It is
illegal.
a money seized under the Money Laundering Act.
No,
those laws were not there in 92s.
Okay, so let me ask you this, since you're
Is
taking
this
the
money
lead.
under the Money Laundering Act or is it a legitimate business?
This is a
You won't
legitimate
sort it out?
business. The money that was used
This is
used
the
to
money, there
purchase
is a
legitimate
offence
jewels
laundered
from
under
people.
the Money Laundering Act. Sucheta Dalal, there is information that the offence has been registered under the Money Laundering Act.
What does seizing a jewelry from a jewelry showroom have to do with PMLA, for God's sake? I mean, you have to establish that. And you will establish it in court.
Proceeds
You
of
can't
crime.
let
This
loose
is
the
a proceeds
CBI,
of crime.
seize everything in a showroom and say it's under PMLA. Have you got any proof?
Proceeds of
And
crime,
then the
explain.
5,000
How are
crore
they?
will reduce to
Hiten, how are these
under
proceeds of
1,000
crime?
Proceeds
Because
of crime,
my
the burden is on the
information is
accused to
less than that.
demonstrate. Under the Money Laundering Act, the burden is upon the accused to show that it is not a proceed of crime, not on the
but there may
prosecution.
be some
This is
legal
the difference
lending
between
by other
92 and
banks. It's not only
2018.
Punjab National Bank. There are half a dozen other
In
banks.
92, there was
are
no offence, no
lots
law,
of legitimate
there were no
lenders
strict
who have
laws.
lent to him as a business.
MR Venkatesh. MR Venkatesh.
What nonsense.
Rahul, Rahul, the first thing that I would like to say, this FIR that has been recorded shows a figure of 280.70 crores.
That's right.
So I do not know what are we talking about as 11,500 crores scam, but the FIR says 280 crores scam, number one. And the FIR is not talking about 2011 also, it is talking about letter of undertaking given from 2017 June onwards. So this is the first thing. So whether the letter of undertaking was, first understand the letter of undertaking, Nirav Modi and all these things comes in the second half. The first half of the story is there is a weak system in the bank wherein even the SWIFT, which is supposed to be a very unimpeachable internal control, was actually broken in India. I think SWIFT messages
No,
are
MR Venkatesh, what are you trying to say?
Circles. If anybody
No, what are you
gets a
trying to
message
say?
through SWIFT,
That because transactions were taking place
What I'm
as
trying
late
to
as
say is
2017, even
that
the NDA today cannot cannot today suggest that this was a UPA era scam, and we are, as Dr. Sambit Patra is saying, recovery agents of the UPA. Is that what you're supposed to say? If that is what you're saying, then let me bring in Dr. Patra to respond to you, because that's a very serious charge. You're not a recovery agent, you're an abettor. And now,
Rahul,
and now you're putting on a show.
I'm saying that
now Dr. Patra, you're putting on a show. This is tokenism. All these seizures.
Accountable. I am saying that you cannot hold a government accountable for a fraud done by a bank officer.
Oh, really, sir? Do you believe that two men? No, no. Are you going to tell me, sir, some junior manager, mid-level manager sat with Nirav Modi and defrauded banks of, in this particular one transaction of 280 crores amounting to, because the LOUs that were given were fake and were used to take loans for Indian banks in foreign countries to the tune of 11,000 crores. Two people did this.
Of PNB.
Come on, MR Venkatesh, two people robbed this country of 11,000 crores and got away with it with no one seeing.
You have a limitation.
No, I think you're being too clever by half. Sucheta Dalal, am I supposed to believe today?
No, you cannot embellish it.
Am I supposed to believe today that two people swiftly manipulate the SWIFT system to help Nirav Modi without the knowledge of top PNB officials for 7 years? Are we fools?
You know, it's worse than that, Rahul. There is a core banking system. If two officials could bypass the core banking system, then there are no audit trails. It means that the core banking system is not core at all. And, you know, somebody will keep screaming when one is trying to speak, so I don't know what one says. The point is that there are lots of weaknesses. There is no audit trail. The core banking system obviously doesn't work. It means that any individual can sit there and bypass it, and there is no way to detect it. No red flags went off. No system can work like that. Then the Reserve Bank of India is clueless about what is happening. Let's focus on this, because remember, Rahul, it was a 6,000 crore forex scam in Bank of Baroda, followed by a bill discounting scam of 300 odd crores in Bank of Baroda, Winsome Diamonds 6,800 crore. Now you have this. This is money going out of our pockets.
So
the finance ministers promised 5 lakh crore, and that's not even a drop in the amount of bad loans that there are. Let's get serious about this.
So I'm going to ask a question that is making me very anxious, Dr. Patra. Let me ask you. No, let me ask you this question. Now that Nirav Modi has fled, and Sucheta Dalal says that there is no hope of recovery from these raids that we are doing, unless Mr. Nirav Modi really comes good on the promises he has made and says, look, I'm going to quickly wire transfer all this money back to you.
Just one point. I believe he's a Belgian citizen. Is that correct?
I don't want to get into that. That's being, at this moment, I can't confirm it, but there is talk that he was born in Antwerp, and it would be very unlikely for him not to have, taken the opportunity to avail himself of a visa or a passport.
I believe he got citizenship a decade ago, and he was born here.
So let's for a moment believe that Nirav Modi is not going to come good on returning this money. He's going to do exactly what he did to Miss Chopra by not paying her the amount that he was supposed to pay her for the advertisements. Imagine if he were to do that to Indian taxpayers. I'm going to ask you, Dr. Patra, will you use taxpayer money to bail out? Will you use taxpayer money now to bail out the banks? Because I'm really worried.
See, Rahul, let me answer it in entirety. I have been hearing the politicians, the supporters of politics, and the neutral voices over here. Very sane neutral voices, I would say, in form of Ms. Sucheta Dalal and MR Venkatesh. And three important players are in this whole game. Important player number one, it seems, are the regulatory bodies, which is the RBI law, etc., etc. Secondly, are the political opponents, the BJP and the Congress party. Now, my simple suggestion over here is, as far as the banking regulation is concerned, it has been the talk of the town since long after the government took over, and Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister of the country, has been consistently suggesting that the regulations have to be strict, and we have to see to it that the NPAs of the UPA days, in fact, the way the banks are functioning, the exposition has to come. We had seen only a few days ago as to how he said that the jugglery of mathematics, the jugglery of numbers, I would say, during the UPA era showed the NPAs only at 32%, despite the fact that the real number was 86%.
Okay.
Secondly, as far as the political bodies are concerned, I have maintained that there was a proactive approach during the UPA days for the defaulters compared to the NDA days, which is a stringent one, and that's the reason as to why most of these exposures are coming during our era. If we really wanted to collude with these people, then naturally their fraud would have been going on till the next term.
That's a valid point. It's a logical argument. KTS to see why expose them. Why expose them? It's a cozy little club. People were having a good time, swindling money.
Can
why make life difficult for yourself?
A single fraud detected from
2010
to
KTS
2014.
Look, KTS the charge is very straight, that the defaulter was getting proactive treatment from the UPA, from the regulatory authorities, maybe because there was some backroom collusion, manipulation, God alone knows what else. And you have to just look at the numbers of cases that emerged under the UPA to say that there is a pattern.
You see, what we need is an honest, credible investigation. And honest, credible investigation seems to be becoming more and more difficult when ministers on day one will start deflecting the responsibility. What kind of chowkidar is this? For 3.5 years
Tulsi,
under your nose this is happening,
FIR
and
has been registered. Seizures taken place.
And then you let
Money
them,
Laundering Act, everything
you let them bolt.
Don't play with the words,
let
Mr.
them
Tulsi,
bolt,
you are a senior
and
lawyer.
from May
What is the meaning of
onwards,
honest and credible investigation? Please tell me. Mr. Tulsi, what is the meaning of honest and credible investigation?
Honest and credible investigation is where there are no political angles.
ED, this is what is honest and credible investigation. Not like sleeping during from 2011 to 2014.
Once the minister has said that there is no responsibility of this government, where is the investigation? What is left of the CBI
Mr.
or the
Tulsi,
ED?
don't play with the words. Don't try to twist the words.
If the ministers are going to make public statements.
Mr. Tulsi, please comment on the action.
Who is going to honor the truth?
Please comment on the action. FIR, Caesar, Money Laundering Act. What is your view on that? Do you agree that these are the correct actions?
All right.
Or do you disagree? No, please say what is a part of the investigation. You are a criminal lawyer. We can do our politics separately, but as a lawyer, both of us are the lawyers. We can place the facts. I mean, if you want to defend Nirav Modi, you can do that separately as in a professional capacity. But please tell me what is the meaning of investigation over here. FIR and Caesars, are they not a part of honest and credible investigation, or they are just an eyewash?
FIR is the starting point of investigation.
I mean, in the courts,
but the minister makes a statement on the same day.
We make all sorts of arguments.
Where is going to be investigation?
But this is what is the honest and credible investigation.
Honest and credible investigation.
Okay. Mr. Hegde.
How do you get to honest investigation if the minister is going to take sides?
The honest and credible investigation will come.
He is going to dictate his terms.
The honest and credible investigation will come when there is a proper prosecution, when there is a
investigation. Dr. Patra wants to ask you a question. I want to bring in Sanjay Hegde right after that. Yes, Dr. Patra.
So my simple question to Mr. Tulsi is only a continuance of what Hitesh Jain rightly puts in. I mean, as far as the credible investigation is concerned, why was there no investigation at all till 2013?
Why did you let him go?
Despite the fact that the MOS Finance then had stood
up.
Why
did you let him go?
Sir, let me complete, sir. Sir, you are a senior spokesperson, sir. Please
I'm asking you. I'm also asking you. Why did you let him go?
I'll answer that. I'll answer that. Let me first complete my question. I'll answer that as well. So number one, why was there no investigation right from 2011 till 2013, when in fact the fraud, as rightly pointed out, the MOS Finance then stood up and said there were a number of faults and frauds as far as the banking system is concerned. Secondly, my simple question over here is, remember this time the fraud came to the forefront because when Mr. Nirav Modi's company went for a LOU, what the banking system asked was a 100% margin, which Mr. Nirav Modi said, why should I give a 100% margin?
But sir,
because in the yesteryears, I was provided LOU without
as per the CBI FIR, I'm not cooking this up, Dr. Saab, Dr. Sambit Patra, at least 8 LOUs were issued to Nirav Modi Group in 2017 itself. Now, does not this show that the scam was also going on full throttle under your regime? And you're supposed to be the regime that has said that you're committed to chowkidari. So it's a very simple, straightforward question. What's going on?
No, of course, yes, you are right that we are committed to Chaukidari, and that's the reason as to why the Chaukidar has finally done its job.
Okay.
The Chaukidar's job is to get hold of the neck of the
but
one
after the chore has run away, the Chaukidar is now. The chore is fled.
Rahul, the 5,100 crore that you're talking about, and the mention of foreign nationals right now, even I mentioned about many of them being foreign nationals, and Ms. Dalal also mentioned about many of them being foreign nationals, the wife also being a foreign national. I don't want to delve into details of that. Those are issues which are still under investigation, but I would say that rest assured, this is a government which would like to recover the amount, and I agree with Ms. Dalal that though it may
so we can only recover if there is going to be an honest and credible investigation. Is there an apprehension that there may not be an honest and credible investigation, Mr. Hegde?
Well, I would not want to prejudge. Ultimately, it depends on what they manage to recover and get back.
I
have one simple point to make.
Tangibles. What can they recover in this particular case? Sucheta Dalal says that these seizures of diamonds that we are seeing on our screen, those are the pictures that we've seized amount to 5,100 crores, but all this will be sort of tied up in litigation. So what can we recover? Let's look at the tangible here.
It will not be easily recovered. What will first be done is to seize all the material, then let people fight over the title to it. Sucheta will remember that even after the 91 scam with regard to shares, the custodian took over all the disputed shares. The thing finally resolved itself only when the share market went up and the value of those shares it went up to a great deal,
so
allowing certain adjustments to be made. Just let me make one point to you.
The custodian is still sitting on the money.
I don't think it's just one separate point. The separate point is this: that each letter of understanding has a validity of about 6 months.
Yes.
Maybe it starts in 2011, but each time you renew it, it is a fresh letter of understanding.
Sure.
Now, if for the last 3.5 years you have been renewing it, you are as complicit as the previous government.
So there you go.
Both governments have been playing with our money.
Hitesh Jain.
Yes.
Okay, MR Venkatesh wants to come in. He's raising his hand. Yes, MR Venkatesh.
Yes.
Everyone is just as complicit.
Rahul, under the Prevention of Money Laundering law, no, 1 minute. Let me tell you a technical point. Under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, Section 8, these diamonds and jewelry that are being seized can be attached and sold, and the proceeds can go to the bank under Section 8 of the PMLA. There are provisions for it, and that it need not be linked to the proceeds of crime. The definition of proceeds of crime includes value thereof, and so you can definitely attach it if the proper investigation is done. Now, as Mr. Hegde said, whether the proper investigation will be done, I don't want to prejudge it at this point in time. As far as the complicity goes,
intent determines an investigation.
At the political level,
this is a very deep political question, because if you are really if your intention is to clean up, if your intention is to recover, if your intention is to become the recovery agent to the last rupee of the UPA, as Dr. Patra said, you will ensure free and fair investigation, but the sense I'm getting is that this probe will lead to nowhere, because the person who's committed the crime has flown the coop. Mr. Hitesh Jain.
The probe has not even started.
Rahul, the problem under the PMLA Act is for Nirav Modi, not for the prosecution.
The probe has not even started. You are prejudging.
No, how am I prejudging, sir? The person who is the principal accused is not in this country. The co-accused are not in this country. There is no hope of recovering money from them. They seem to be foreign citizens. They don't seem to have made any intent to even suggest to anybody that they are going to return the money. They wrote a letter to the PNB. The chief of the PNB came out today and said that, look, we haven't heard back from them. So we are back to square one. If you are talking about complicity, then the NDA is just as complicit. And this is a question that needs to be answered,
Can I answer that? Can I answer that?
Yeah, okay, Dr. Patra, you
Can I
answer
answer that? Since the question is to the NDA and the BJP, I want to answer it. Thank you so much. Rahul, my simple logical submission over here is, without going into technicalities, if we were complicit, as is being alleged by some of the opposition members or people who are non-political, let me simply say, if we were complicit, our simple solution would have been to collude for one more year till 2019 elections are over. Why, for God's sake, just 1 year before the elections, would the Bharatiya Janata Party stop, quote unquote, the collusion, only to expose the scam, to investigate the scam, to bring to the forefront the defaulter, to in fact recover the amount, to unleash the ED and the CBI in a non-political manner? Why would all this happen if we were so much into the act? We would have been into the act for 1 more year.
The NDA would have been complicit. It's got 1 more year. Yes, Tanveer Ahmed is gone.
Actually, if they could do that, they could have done it. It is a whistleblower who really bought these things on paper. But however, I would congratulate Mr. Patra and his government if at all they conduct the investigation within next 1 year, and they could really bring the accused and book the accused and recover that losses which the country and the exchequer has faced. Then we can really say that the Chowkidar has done a great job. Otherwise, I think we would definitely be accusing the Chowkidar for not doing Chowkidari properly. So, is Mr. Patra who's sitting here,
so
can he assure the people, because you know your channel is watched by crores of people, are you going to assure that the Chowkidar is going to book and bring the person to justice, and this country is going to recover the losses?
So let me ask that question. Dr. Patra responds, sir. Crores of people who've got their money tied up in these banks are asking this question. It's not just one bank. 5 other banks are equally culpable. And we don't know. But as far as the initial estimates suggest, thousands of crores have even gone out from there. That's why we come up to that figure of 11,000 crores.
See, Rahul, commonsensical answer to this is, because people of this country are watching this, 11,000 crore, 10 officials suspended, some officials going to be arrested. We have a seizure of 51
But they are not going to cough up the money, sir.
This, do you think? No.
You send them to jail.
I agree with
they're the
many
little
things, but
pawns.
let me answer
They're
that.
small fry.
Let me answer that. These technically have been answered by Mr. Venkatesh and others, but let me go to the general point of it. As far as assuring the people is concerned, people have realized that these humongous scams do not take place overnight. There is collusion since since yesteryears altogether, and secondly, the system has to be cleansed. The process of cleaning the system is on, everyone is realizing that. We are in fact with this cleansing process, and that's the reason as to why every day we are seeing as to how the banking system is being discussed, has been talked. The NPA is a talking point today only because of the fact that the NDA and the Bharatiya Janata Party
Sucheta Dalal doesn't agree.
Sucheta Dalal, the wrongs of yesteryears.
Why are you cynical tonight? Why are you so cynical tonight? Look at the recovery that is taking place. Look at the intent that Dr. Patra is speaking about.
Because it's absurd, Rahul.
It's absurd.
What intent? It's absurdity. Okay, this government came to power in 2014. They spent the first year without even appointing bank chairman. Many banks, especially PSUs, were headless. Every employee was busy creating Jan-Dhan accounts. After that, they spent a year doing demonetization. Where was the seriousness at all in recovering money?
But I have a feeling, and I'm voicing this apprehension. No, Dr. Patra, you need to tell the millions of people who are watching this broadcast, I just want to ask you, is there a guarantee, sir, that you will not use now taxpayer money to bail out these banks? Can you guarantee that? Because there will be a double indemnity, double jeopardy.
Though I'm a very small person, but I can guarantee on the intention, the letter of intention of the Modi government, that the taxpayer is not going to be taxed. It is not to the taxpayers' money that any of this is going to be refunded.
No, it's not about taxing. It's about bailouts, and that's my biggest fear.
Yes, bailing out is also taxing
the big rich man goes, runs away.
Bailing out is also taxing the taxpayer, of course.
Okay,
when I say taxing the taxpayer, I mean bailing out to the taxpayers'
exactly to pay these kind of debts.
There you go.
Just a second.
चोरी करके भाग जाए, सरकार हमारा पैसा ले और जहां से चोरी हुई है वहां पर पैसा फिर से डाल दे कि कोई और चोर वो चोरी करके फिर से चले जाए और भाग जाए. No, this is I hope this is not going to happen. Because that's what the 1 lakh crore one is. You know, you can't have bailouts after bailouts, no regulation on the ground. In fact, if there is a failure of the RBI, then let's see who in the RBI is going to get. No, let's then, if it's criminal negligence, then we want to see, not some PMB official. And I'll tell you, sir, Gokulnath Shetty, you're going to pick up Gokulnath Shetty. We are being told that Gokulnath Shetty, and this is a big breaking news coming in because we did a bit of an investigation. He has a house, a Madha kind of house, which he gave on rent and moved into a plush 3 crore property. This is a big breaking news. We're going to get back 3 crores, you're going to confiscate his house, shove him into jail, but where is about 11,000 crores? That's going to come from me, from the budget. That's the problem. Let's play out that. Let's play out this sequence. This is what Gokulnath Shetty, this is what Times Now discovered. Kickbacks. He used the kickbacks, allegedly, to buy this posh little house for himself in the heart of Mumbai, in a very posh, Tony locality. Gokulnath Shetty's property. Let's put that out.
Gokulnath Shetty stays here only, or? Gokulnath Shetty, ma'am? Ma'am? Gokulnath Shetty stays here? Gokulnath Shetty?
Shetty, Mr. Shetty.
Mr. Shetty?
Yeah, in the opposite.
Okay.
This 402, right? 402. Thank you.
मिस्टर गोकुलनाथ शेट्टी और टाइम्स नाउ की स्पेशल टीम है टाइम्स नाउ की कहाँ पे है वो टाइम्स नाउ की टीम है
He now lives, he's a government employee, PNB, a manager in the PNB owns a 3.5 crore property. Yes, we'll get Gokulnath Shetty, but Nirav Modi, God alone knows. Malia, God alone knows. Lalit Modi, God alone knows. They're all going to be living the good life. And the taxpayer will bail the banks out again and again and again till the next scam. We leave it at that. On the news hour, we take this forward. More big breaking news coming in. Stay tuned.